sometimes I'll practice certain patterns, you know, but I try to stay away from that because then I get locked into playing a certain way every time. I don't have a lot of harmonic like insights that I do. Like play a D altered chord.
Donc la question c'est sur ces méthodes de travail.
I should adjust my rubber band. Whenever I have like let's say a D altered chord, I always think of it like a C minor chord with a major seventh in it. So. And then like I arpeggiato. That gets me out of a lot of tight spots. Sometimes if I have a deal, you know, just do that and it sounds like I'm like, oh. That's my, you know, trick to impress the girls. But I don't use it too much because it doesn't, you know, it's a device. It's something like when you get stuck, it allows you to get someplace else. And there are certain things that you do. I mean, that's one of the things that I'm aware of that I do. You know, and that's about, you know, outside of that, the rest of it is just kind of listening to what's going on and trying to find the next right note. And it's really a, you know, that just comes with whatever, you know, like I'm going to play different playing with him playing acoustic piano than I am with him playing electric piano. Just because I'm going to hear the sound differently. You know. But that's, you know, what I practice is mostly whole tones, and then I'll sit at the piano and play chords, certain chords, and then I'll play the chord and then I'll put a sustain pedal down, and then just try playing different notes against it, and say, okay, if the keyboard's down in this register, what note sounds good against that? You know, because it doesn't always, you know, like you play that an octave lower or an octave higher, you wouldn't play the same thing. If you played that chord an octave higher, whatever you would do would be appropriate to where he was range-wise, you know. And I think that's really what it is. So a lot of it's just trial and error, just trying things, you know, saying, okay, that works against this. And I'll sometimes, you know, the Nicholas Slimimsky book, the Thesaurus of Scales and Melodic Patterns. Anyway, there's this book by a guy named Nicholas Slimimsky called Thesaurus.
It's an old book, no?
Very old book, yeah. And it's got a lot of like Coltrane used that book a lot. And there's a lot of patterns in there that are good, useful patterns to help you break other patterns. You know? So I mean, technique is supposed to allow you to play what you hear. So it's a lot of it for me is more than just a specific practice pattern. It's trying different things, but usually it's related to sound. You know, the sound of the, you know, where the chords are in the ranges. Van Doren B16s, number 2.5, and they sometimes they do a special cut for you.
Where in Paris or?
Well, they send them from the factory in
directly to
Born-sur-Mer.
Okay. Donc ils jouent des B16 Van Doren 2,5.
It's funny that reeds grow best on the Riviera, right? Just like humans, right?
Do you want to make a break, short break? Or,
no, I'm okay.
Okay, we go on. All right.
Any other more questions?
D'autres questions?
More eventually, what's your best memory? Like, as when you were a sideman, now you're under your own. But you know, at the time you played with many famous people. And
I loved playing with Gil Evans. I absolutely loved playing with Gil. He was when I first moved to New York, I lived at his house for a while, because I didn't have a place to stay. And just to be able to spend, days with him, just to be around, immersed in his, like, aura, the philosophy, and he was so, I learned so much from him about music and life, and just about space, that thing, the idea of space, of leaving notes out, And when I played with him, I was better at it, because he created an atmosphere that was, conducive, you say, to thinking that way. I mean, some of my fondest memories are playing with Gil, and I was in the band when the saxophone players were George Adams and Howard Johnson and me, and it was great. George Adams was an amazing musician. So much control. Talk about control. George had unbelievable control. He used to play the song, one of Gil's arrangements, The Meaning of the Blues. And every night, it was some of the greatest stuff I ever heard. And he would go up high. And he could play, George could play free and then play inside and just go back and forth. It's like he had, crossed the border all the time. He was an amazing player. Just very passionate. Well, once again, going back to my early history, I grew up with some friends of mine were Julius Hemphill and Lester Bowie and Philip Wilson. So we all grew up together in St. Louis. So I knew these guys, and we all played all different kinds of music. And they, when we left St. Louis, they went one way and I went another. But to me, it was all the same. It's like you just play. You play appropriate to the situation. And I did an album with Tim Byrne, who I absolutely love. He's a great player and a great writer. And I don't think my approach is really any different. I just try to be appropriate to the moment.